11 Graham West, 12 Nick DeToit and 13 Ian Potter. The substitutes for Wigan are Keith Holden and Ian Lucas. The Warrington side is 1 Brian Johnson, 2 Brian Carbett, at 3 Mark Foster, 4 Ronnie Dwayne, at 5 Rick Thackeray, 6 Steve Peters, at 7 Paul Bishop, 8 Tony Worrell, 9 Kevin Tamity, 10 Les Boyd, 11 Bob Jackson, 12 Tommy Gittins and 13 Mike Gregory. The substitutes for Warrington are Dave Allen and Tony Hodson. The referee, Mr Smith of Halifax, the linesman, Mr Hayes and Mr Brown. So the 5th meeting between the two teams this season. Wigan at the moment leading by 3-1. Warrington way back at the beginning of the season won the Locker Cup, while Wigan have been victorious in the Lancashire Cup, the John Player special match, and also the match on New Year's Day at Wilderspool. So the two captains, Les Boyd and Graham West, meeting in the middle of the pitch to toss the coin. So the teams will stay as they are. Warrington will be playing left to right on our screens, playing David Stevenson to take the kick for Wigan to the right of the posts. Bishop will feed for Warrington. Ball out on the Wigan side, Ford out to Hanley. Hanley dummies, cuts back inside, stopped by Peters but gets away. Finally brought down by Gray, gets the ball away to Ford. This time it's Hampson. Hampson though stopped by Ronnie Dwayne, still going before he's brought down. Sean Edwards from the play the ball, stopped though by Steve Peters, stopped short of the Warrington 25. Stevenson's acting halfback, sends it on to Ford, to DeToit. DeToit goes straight, stopped by Gittins and Worrell. Nicky Kiss, back to Hanley. Hanley going across field, stopped though by Peters, shakes off the tackle. Finally brought down there by Steve Peters and Mark Foster. Kiss onto Edwards. Edwards with the kick. It's a high one. Pressure on Brian Johnson as Ford's there. Johnson takes it well though. Thought about passing the ball but brought down. This time it's Tamity. Tamity stopped by Ford. Brian. Mike Gregory goes back over the 25 before he's brought down by Graham West. Once again it's Tamity on to Tony Worrell. Worrell gets the pass out to Jackson, back inside to Rick Thackeray, but Rick Thackeray doesn't make much ground. Once again it's Tamity, back to Bishop with the kick. Crossfield into space, Hampson will go for it. Back inside his own 25 before he picks it up. Hampson, but stopped though by Brian Cabell, gets away. And away from Steve Peters, still going. Finally having to be tackled by Mark Foster. Edwards on the DeToit. Gets away from Boyd over the halfway line. Takes 4 Warrington players to stop him. Peters, Foster, Mike Gregory and Tamity. On to Bishop, looking for the gap, cuts back inside, gets away from Potter. Potter, still Bishop going. Tamity goes left. Gets the ball out to Gittins. Gittins onto Ronnie Dwayne. But a good tackle though by Phil Stott. The wingman for Wigan. Johnson on to Bishop. Bishop with the kick across field. Mike Gregory's going for it, taken though by Steve Hampson. Front and gets away. Brought down though by Les Boyd. Wigan then in possession. Nicky Kiss. Plays it to himself. Clears his own 25 before he's brought down by Steve Peters and Kevin Tamity. Sent right to Hanley and his pass is dropped by Andy Goodway. And that will be a scrum down. Just inside the Wigan 25. Paul Bishop prepares to feed. Puts the ball in, but the referee not happy with the scrum. They pat down once more. Bishop feeds. And another scrum down. Warrington coming away with the ball. But the scrums will reform and pat down once more. Bishop once again. Feeds, but this time is penalised. Feeding. And Wigan have the free kick. So Hampson, right-footed, puts the ball into touch. Kiss will take the tap. Good way. Back to Kiss, on to Potter. Potter though brought down by Jackson. Michael Ford, on to West, back to Ford, on to Detroit. Detroit knocks off Bishop. Bishop hangs on though. Tackled by Peters and Foster. Stevenson goes himself from the play of the ball. Tackled though by Gittins and Mike Gregory, short of the halfway line. Michael Ford is acting half-back for Wigan. Goes himself, back inside to Case. Kiss once more, on to Ford. Ford with the kick. Well taken though by Brian Carbett. Cuts back inside, tackled by Ford and Sean Edwards. Steve Peters. On to Bob Jackson. Jackson straightens up. Kiss though in the tackle with the toit. Tamati to Bishop. On to Tony Worrell. Worrell across field. Cuts back inside. 3 Wigan players bring him down. Tamati on to Bishop. Boyd. Back to Bishop. Back to Gittins. Gittins finally caught by Ellery Hanley. Bishop once again with the kick for touch, but Hampson stops it. On to Stott. Phil Stott. He's stopped by Ronnie Dwayne and Mike Gregory. This time it's out to Goodway. He's stopped though by Gittins. Case back to Brian Case. Case tries to get the ball away and in fact loses it. Peters has it, on to Bishop. Bishop goes back left. On to Tony Worrell. Worrell, Mike Gregory. Gregory straightens up. Brought down by David Stevenson and Michael Ford. Once again it's Paul Bishop. Bishop on to Tamati. Tamati looking for the gap. Clears the halfway line before he's brought down by Detroit. Steve Peters is acting halfback. On to Les Boyd. Boyd straightens up. Brought down again by Nick Detroit. Tamati on to Paul Bishop to Gittins. Gittins. Jackson. Jackson head down, brought down by Graham West and Andy Goodway. Bishop once more, Mike Gregory. Mike Gregory though brought down by his opposite number, Ian Potter. 6th tackle for Warrington. Bishop has it. A little chip across field. Chance here, Steve Peters picks it up. Tries to get the ball away but brought down. And that's the turnover. Wigan back in possession. In their own 25, Brian Case. Case makes it to his own 25 before he's held by Gittins. And Steve Peters, Wiggins sending it across the line. Hanley onto West. Sean Edwards going for back. Dummies, but Mark Foster has him well tackled. On this near touchline, gets back up. Flicks the ball away to Graham West. West. But Jackson and Mark Foster bring him down. This time it's Hanley. On to Ford. Back to Hanley. Goodway. Goodway tries to go himself, brought down though by Steve Peters. with assistance of Tamati and Bishop. Nicky Kiss onto Potter, but Potter's caught by Kevin Tamati. And Tony Worrell in fact loses the ball. Played back, Bishop has it. Paul Bishop comes back inside, tackled though by Ellery Hanley. Tony Worrell. Worrell onto Gittins. Gittins cuts back inside. Sent right this time onto Les Boyd. Once again it's Tamati. Swings it out to Jackson. Jackson over the 25. He's got support coming up with from Mike Gregory, but just couldn't get the ball away. Tackled by Michael Ford. There's nobody at the play of the ball. Bishop has to kick it back. Les Boyd picks it up. Onto Peters. Peters onto Worrell. Chance here for Warrington. Worrell looking for the gap. And it's intercepted by Phil Stotts. And Phil Stotts away. He's coming in field. Phil Stotts going. Rick Thackeray's coming away. Mark Foster stops him. Phil Stotts still going. Finally brought down by Ronnie Dwayne and Rick Thackeray. From that interception pass from Stott. Thackeray kicks it away. Case. This time it's Goodway. Andy Goodway. Caught though by Thackeray and Johnson. Gets the ball away. And Ronnie Dwayne brings it down 6 tackles for Wigan. This time it's Hampson onto Brian Case. Brian Case though caught by Tommy Gittins. Nicky Kiss will take this one for Wigan. Onto Ford. Misses out Hanley onto West. West goes straight, gets it back to Hanley. Hanley. This time it's Ford. Gets away from Bishop. Kick for touch, and it's a good one. So a scrum down. Inside the Warrington half. Paul Bishop will feed for Warrington. Referee though. Starts to scrums out. Bishop feeds on to Johnson. Johnson. A chance here. Mark Foster. Brought down though by Ellery Hanley. Brian Johnston for Warrington. Sends it left with Mike Gregory. And Gregory loses the ball in that tackle and Detroit comes up for it for Wigan. This time it's Brian Case. Case back to Sean Edwards. Edwards though stopped by Steve Peters. This time it's Kiss on to Ford. Ford goes back inside. Straightens up. Finally brought down. Kiss from the play of the ball. Goes himself. Shugs off one man. Back to Michael Ford. Ford gets the ball out to Hanley. Hanley's got a gap. Goes for it. Hanley's still going. He's only got Johnson to beat. And Johnson doesn't bring him down. And Ellery Hanley scores. Ellery Hanley, a great burst of speed. Came onto the ball. Beat one tackle. And took Brian Johnson over the line with him. For the opening score of the game. A try. Ellery Hanley. Once again, this Central Park crowd giving Ellery Hanley a good round of applause for that try, which sees Wigan take a 4-0 lead. So David Stevenson will try and convert that Ellery Hanley try. Has already missed one kick from a similar position on the opposite side of the field. Got a chance now to kick his first goal of the evening as he comes up right-footed, and this time he makes no mistake. And that is Wigan 6 points. So Wigan 6 points, Warrington 0 as a substitution for Warrington. Tony Worrell leaves the field to be replaced by Dave Allen. Bishop restarts, left-footed. Steve Hampson comes for this one. Under to Toit. De Toit, met by Boyd. Being pushed back with Kevin Tamati. Kiss from the play of the ball, goes blindside. Stopped by Tamati and Mike Gregory. Ford. Hampson sends it left to De Toit with the kick. And now an incident in the Wigan 25. Players having a go at each other as Brian Johnson has it for Warrington, evades one tackle. Rick Thackeray from the play of the ball on to Steve Peters. Peters brought down by Brian Case and Graham West. Bishop in midfield on to Dave Allen. Allen to Jackson. Jackson brought down though by De Toit and Edwards on the halfway line. Foster on to Tamati. Tamati brought down again by De Toit and Michael Ford. This time it's Carbett on to Bishop. Dave Allen to Gittins. Gittins though brought down by Ian Potter. 6 tackle for Warrington. Peters goes himself and caught in possession by Brian Case and Ian Potter. That's 6 tackles and the turnover. Kiss from the play of the ball. Makes ground into the Warrington half. Sean Edwards on to Hanley. Hanley dummies, comes back inside, gets the ball away to Edwards. Edwards straightens up. Finally brought down by Tommy Gittins. And Warrington in possession. Bob Jackson comes away with it for Warrington. This time it's Boyd, sends it left with Bishop. Bishop onto Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson gets away from Phil Stott. And again, Brian Johnson coming up in attack. This time it's Thackeray. Thackeray brought down though by Phil Stott. Les Boyd for Warrington is acting halfback. Sends it on to Bishop. Bishop to Peters. Peters caught again in position. Referee having a good look at that. Peters comes up with it. Gittins with the kick towards the corner, and a great kick there from Tommy Gittins, bouncing right inside the Wigan 25 and into touch, so a scrum down. Midway inside the Wigan 25, the referee having a talk with the linesman, calling over De Toit and Tamati for that incident earlier on. So the scrum packs down once more. Forward fees for Wigan. Comes away with the ball, goes blindside. Inside to Braithwaite, who cuts inside. Gets away from one tackle, finally brought down by Bob Jackson. De Toit goes blindside himself. Brian Carbett, Mike Gregory and Dave Allen in the tackle. And Mike Gregory and Dave Allen pushing back. Good few yards. Michael Ford on to West. Hanley. Sean Edwards into Goodway, but Goodway is well tackled but gets the ball away. Hanley gets away from Bishop, but brought down. Michael Ford on to Brian Case. Case, but he's brought down by Tamati, Mike Gregory and Tommy Gittins. This time it's played back to Steve Hampson. Hampson once again with the kick. Bounces past Johnson. Finally picks it up in his own 25. Cuts inside, Goodway, and Michael Ford. Dummies, cuts back inside. Finally brought down by Graham West. And Michael Ford. Rick Thackeray is the acting halfback this time for Warrington. From the play of the ball goes himself. 4 Wigan players in that one. 4 The tackle on Rick Thackeray. Dave Allen onto Gittins to Peters. But Peters can find no way past Nick the Toit and Ian Potter. Gregory onto Dave Allen. Allen clears his own 25 before he's brought down by Ian Potter. And a break there from Mark Foster, he's got space. But brought down by Graham West. Mike Gregory onto Bishop. Bishop with the kick. Hampson picks it up. Cuts back inside, finally brought down by Ronnie Dwayne and Bob Jackson. Hanley. Phil Stott straightens up. Brought down short of the halfway line. Hanley on this time to Nicky Kiss. Kiss brought down though by Jackson and Gittins. Case, Ford, West. West though, stopped by Dave Allen. Ford onto Goodway. Stevenson with a kick through. Brian Carbett goes back for Warrington and feels it well. Well played there by Brian Carbett under pressure. Peters from the play, the ball onto Mark Foster. Mark Foster brought down by Brian Case. Dave Allen onto Tamati. Tamati. Graham West and Nick the Toit hold him in the tackle. Quickly plays the ball. Gittins. Gittins onto Peters, took it well. Tried to get the ball away, but Potter had him well tackled. This time it's Gittins with the kick. Steve Hampson takes it. Running across field. Dummies still going. Dummies inside, finally brought down in the Warrington half by Ronnie Dwayne. Wigan then. Goodway. Knocks off two men, still going. Finally brought down by Ronnie Dwayne and Rick Thackeray. This time it's Hanley. Hanley to Ford. Ford drops the ball but goes backwards, retrieved by Graham West. West brought down by Jackson and Gittins. Potter on to Case. Case on to Hanley. Hanley evading one tackle. Brought down by Ronnie Dwayne. Kiss on to Ford. Long pass out, taken well by West. On to Detroit. Detroit with a kick through. Hanging in the air. Bounces free. Steve Peters goes free. Bumps off the ball. And the referee gives a scrum down. Five minutes remaining in this first half. Wigan with a 6-0 lead. Scrum packs down once more as Bishop feeds, and a Warrington ball. Bishop away with the ball, brought down by Michael Ford. Dave Allen to Mike Gregory. Mike Gregory straightens up, brought down now by Graham West. And now Mike Gregory and Graham West having a little argument in the middle of the field as he plays the ball. Gittins. Gittins is stopped in midfield by Brian Case. As Gittins plays the ball on to Bob Jackson. Jackson. This time it's Tamati on to Bishop. Bishop to Allen. Allen goes himself, straightens up, tries to get the ball away, and Nicky Kiss pounces on the ball for Wigan. West left to Ford. Ford though, and Les Boyd is penalised, which gives Wigan a free kick in midfield, and David Stevenson comes across to try and put this one into touch. And a good kick from David Stevenson, setting Wigan up on the attack. Kiss will take the tap. to Ford. Ford to Graham West. West charges into the Warrington 25. Gets away from one tackle, finally brought down by Bob Jackson. Case goes himself in the play, the ball onto Graham West. Graham West cuts back inside, chance here for Wigan, throws the ball out. A chance here for Potter. Potter onto Sean Edwards. Sean Edwards though well tackled by Steve Peters and Dave Allen. Wigan though pressing now on the Warrington line. Michael Ford. Ford out to Stevenson, took it well, shrugs off one man. And Stevenson is in the corner. Shrugged off Mark Foster as if he wasn't there. And David Stevenson scores in the corner to give Wigan a 10 points to 0 lead. So Matt Foster, I'm sure, will be angry with himself about missing that tackle on David Stevenson. So David Stevenson to try and convert his own try. So David Stevenson takes his time, comes up with the conversion attempt, but just goes wide. So the score stays at Wigan 10, Warrington 0. Bishop restarts once more. Graham West takes it well, tackled by Mike Gregory, and the referee stops the clock and is penalising Mike Gregory for that tackle on Graham West. Referee Smith giving a good talking to Mike Gregory. Mike Gregory protests his innocence, but referee Smith has nothing to do with it. And Wigan have the free kick as Smith restarts the clock. Stevenson comes over to take this kick. And the kick goes over our commentary position. So Wigan just inside their own half. Kiss onto Brian Case, met though by Les Boyd and Bob Jackson. Kiss onto Ford. Ford looking for the gap, finds Sean Edwards. Sean Edwards though well tackled by Steve Peters. Kiss onto Ian Potter. Once again Peters in the tackle with Gittins and Allen. Kiss once more. Detroit shrugs off one tackle, and once again Peters in the tackle with Dave Allen. Back to West. West brought down by Steve Peters with the assistance of Les Boyd. Sixth tackle for Wigan. Played back to Steve Hampson. Hampson, dummies, still going. His kick's charged down by Dave Allen. Graham West has it, throws it out to Brian Case. Brian Case held by Bob Jackson. Six more tackles for Wigan. Kiss on to Ford. Ford stopped though and being pushed back by Jackson, Allen and Peters. Kiss out to Ellery Hanley. Hanley takes it well. On to Detroit, goes across field, runs into his own man. Andy Goodway. And in fact there goes the hooter for half time. here at Central Park, Wigan, where Wigan at half-time have a 10 points to 0 lead. Their first try from Ellery Hanley. Then just a couple of minutes before half-time, David Stevenson went in at the corner. A goal from David Stevenson also makes the half-time score. Wigan 10, Warrington 0. So the team's back on for this second half. Wigan leading by 10 points to 0. Tries by Ellery Hanley and David Stevenson, and 1 goal from David Stevenson. And Wigan will restart the second half. With David Stevenson, who kicks off. Brian Johnson stops it, hands it on to Mike Gregory. Gregory tackled by Ian Potter. This time it's Tamati, goes across field, clears his 25 before he's brought down by Ian Potter. This time it's Boyd. Tamati on to Dave Allen, cuts back inside. Tamati on to Bishop. Bishop with the kick across field. Hampson's underneath it, takes it well. Faced by Steve Peters and Ronnie Dwayne. And Ronnie Dwayne brings him down with the assistance of Steve Peters. Stott on to Michael Ford. Ford. Peters and Dwayne bring him down. Stott. Case. Nicky Kiss. On to Hanley. Hanley brought down though by Mike Gregory with the assistance of Steve Peters. Kiss goes blindside, stopped by Mike Gregory and Steve Peters once more. 6th tackle for Wigan. On the halfway line, Stevenson with the kick, hanging in the air, bounces. Ball goes loose. Ron Braithwaite's going for it and picks it up. But the play being brought back for a scrum down, for a knock on. So Andy Goodway knocking the ball on earlier in the move and denies Ron Braithwaite of a try. Bishop feeds. Comes out on the Warrington side. Steve Peters shrugs off Michael Ford, gets the ball away. Dwayne misses it, Stott has it, Thackeray picks it up for Warrington. 6 more tackles. Tamati. But Graham West, Nicky Kiss and Brian Case all in that tackle for Wigan. Thackeray on to Jackson. Jackson on the Warrington 25, brought down by Nick Toit and Graham West, and a free kick to Warrington. Had infringement against Graham West, kicking the ball, so Warrington have the free kick. Bishop with the kick, it's a good one. Tamati takes the tap onto Boyd. Boyd brought down by Brian Case. Tamati onto Dave Allen. Allen cuts inside, gets away from Goodway, still going. Finally brought by Nick the Toit. Tamati goes himself, brought down by the Toit once more. Dave Allen on this time to Gittins. Gittins goes left, straightens up. Finally stopped by Potter and Nicky Kiss. Tamati onto Bishop. Bishop to Mike Gregory, he can't hold the pass. And Wigan back in possession. Brian Case. This time it's Goodway. Goodway. Brought down by Dave Allen and Mike Gregory. Ford. Graham West. West meets Les Boyd. And Tamati and Gregory also in the tackle for Warrington. This time it's Kiss acting halfback onto Brian Case. Case. Tackled though by Tamati and Boyd. Once again Kiss acting halfback onto Ford, to Potter, back to Ford, a long pass out to David Stevenson, well tackled though by Bishop, gets the well away to Edwards, Edwards finds the gap, Edwards is away, Thackeray's and Carver's chasing him, Edwards still going onto Ellery Hanley, Hanley still going, great tackle though by Steve Peters, great saving tackle from Peters as Hanley was going for the line, 6th tackle this time for Wigan. Moving closer to the line, this time it's Ford onto Potter, Potter heading for the line. And he's stopped, and that is the 6th tackle and the turnover. And Wigan missed a golden opportunity. Tamati out to Jackson. Jackson clears his lines well. Once again it's Tamati, goes left. Dummies, gets away from Hanley and Stevenson. Brought down by Nicky Kiss. On the halfway line. Peters on to Dave Allen. Allen stopped by Goodway and Kiss. Peters then who made that try-saving tackle. On to Bishop. Bishop with the kick. Braithwaite takes it safely. Goes forward, well tackled though by Mark Foster. This time it's Edwards. Edwards goes himself. Cross field. So Wigan in midfield. Kiss onto Ford. Out to West. West onto Detroit. Well tackled though. Mark Foster. Ford. Goodway across field. Cuts back inside. Meets Les Boyd. Throws the ball away. And it's Warrington who are in possession. Bob Jackson comes up with it. Steve Peters, and offside against number 7, Michael Ford of Wigan. Gives Warrington a free kick, and Paul Bishop has it. And the kick goes on top of that commentary position. Warrington have the tap, Tamati onto Boyd, Boyd charges in. Makes it to the halfway line before he's stopped by Brian Case with the assistance of Goodway and Nicky Kiss. Tamati to Gittins. Gittins cuts back inside. Kiss has him tackled with Graham West and pinches the ball out to Goodway. Goodway cuts back inside, stopped by Tamati, Mike Gregory and Paul Bishop. Ford. Case, back to West, onto Potter. Potter looking for the gap. Got away from Bishop, but didn't get away from Jackson. Ford, from the play the ball, goes himself. Jackson brings him down once more, but gets the ball away. This time it's out to Edwards. Edwards, this time it's to Toit. Still going, makes play inside the Warrington half. Edwards, back to West. Stevenson out to Detroit, goes himself. Gittins stops him with Ronnie Dwayne. Edwards cuts back inside, looks for the gap, away from one man, gets it away to Brian Case. Case onto Michael Ford, Mike Ford, a long pass out, but Ronnie Braithwaite can't take the pass, and the ball goes into touch. So the scrum down inside the Warrington 25. Which Paul Bishop will feed. So Bishop puts the ball in and out on the Warrington side, and a free kick for Michael Ford. Did not retire at the scrum, and Warrington have the free kick. Bishop with the kick. Sets Warrington up once more. Samity. Les Boyd takes play inside the Wigan half. Samity on to Dave Allen. Allen. Samity will take this one. Sends it left to Bishop, who goes right with Steve Peters. Peters got a good tackle there from Graham West. Samity goes himself, pushes off Nicky Kiss. Bishop onto Gittins. Gittins with the kick. It looks a good one, and it is another great kick there from Tommy Gittins. Sending play deep inside the Wigan 25. An important scrum for both sides to win. Michael Ford will feed for Wigan as the scrums packs down and collapses. And they pat down once more. Referee Smith giving both front rows a talking to as Nicky Kiss looks injured. Out to Wigan, Hanley. Hanley still going across field. And a good run from Ellery Hanley, and a fist going in, I think, over there on that far side. The touch judge is on Mr. Hayes. Referee Mr. Smith calls over Warrington centre Mark Foster and is penalised for a punch thrown in the tackle. Stevenson puts the ball into touch and sets Wigan up once more with Kiss to take the tap. Takes it himself, being pushed towards the touchline, but avoids that, and Wigan now with Case. And Case drops the ball, but Wigan back in possession. Ford onto Hanley. West, but West is well held by Tamati and being pushed back, but West still going. Mike Gregory in there also for Warrington. Long pass out over the heads of numerous Wigan players. John Edwards has to go back into his own 25 and throw a long pass out to Steve Hampson. Hampson, good run, brought down by Mark Foster. Les Boyd also in the tackle. Ford with the kick over the head of Brian Johnson, who goes back inside his own 25 to pick this one up. Picks it up cleanly. Brought down by Michael Ford with the assistance of Andy Goodway. It's David Stevenson. This time it's Carbett onto Peters. Peters onto Ronnie Dwayne. Dwayne though tackled by Phil Stott. Peters sends it left with Tamati. Tackled though by Nick de Toit and David Stevenson. Peters. Bishop. Bishop to Boyd. Boyd onto Jackson, looking for the gap. On to Boyd. Boyd out to Steve Peters. Peters cuts back inside, finally brought down by Nick de Toit. Tamati to Bishop. Bishop to Gittins. Gittins cuts back inside over the halfway line, struggles off Ellery Hanley. Sixth tackle for Warrington. Bishop from the play of the ball with a little kick through. Potter's going back for it, loses it. And Bishop has it for Warrington. Finally brought down, 6 more tackles for Warrington. This time it's Les Boyd, goes into the Wigan 25. Graham West in the tackle that time for Wigan. This time it's Gittins. Gittins goes straight, dummies. Gets the ball away but can't take it. Tamati couldn't take that pass and Wigan back in possession. Steve Hampson with the ball. Midway inside his 25. Ford from the play of the ball, but stopped by Bob Jackson. Kiss to Case. Case, tackled by Mike Gregory. And Steve Peters. Wigan then still on their own 25. Kiss sends it left. Nick the Toit. So 6th tackle for Wigan. The ball played back. Stevenson with the kick. Johnson and Thackeray go for it. Thackeray picks it up, goes across field. Goes round Ronnie Braithwaite. Finally brought down by Ian Potter. Brian Carbett from the play the ball. Goes in field. Round Kiss. Round Ford. Still going on to Les Boyd. Boyd gets the ball out. And finally, Phil Stock brings Mike Gregory down. On the halfway line, Warrington in possession. Tamati will take the play the ball. Goes himself. Brought down by Stott. Gregory on to Bishop. This time it's Gittins looking for the gap, but Brian Case and Nick the Toit bring him down. Once again, it's Dave Allen. Bishop with the kick for touch. And that beats Steve Hampson. And Bishop takes play inside the Wigan 25 and a scrum down. Once again, an important ball to win for both sides. And a substitution being made by Wigan. Keith Holden will take the field, and coming off, the fullback Steve Hampson, who once again has had a very good game for Wigan at fullback. So Keith Holden comes in to the game. The ball is fed, and a free kick to Warrington. Feet up in the scrum from Nicky Kiss. Chance here for Warrington to pull themselves back into this game. Still the score 10-0 to Wigan. But Warrington now pressing on the Wigan line. Tamati with the tap. Goes right with Les Boyd, going for the corner. Still going, it's in, and a try. Brought into touch. Brian Johnson, yes. A try. Brian Johnson, the scorer for Warrington. Brian Johnson pulls Warrington back into the game. Les Boyd charged in and got the ball away, and Brian Johnson pulls Warrington back into the game. Wigan 10, Warrington 4. And Brian Johnson once again gets his name on the score sheet. So Paul Bishop right out on that far touchline to try and convert that Johnson try. Left-footed, it's a low one and wide. So 6 points the difference. Wigan 10 points, Warrington 4. So Stevenson restarts. Mike Gregory picks it up and brought down just short of his own 25. This time it's Tamati on to Dave Allen. Allen stopped by Ian Potter. This time it's Tamati, sends it right with Bishop. Bishop on to Steve Peters, to Johnson. Johnson tackled by Braithwaite. Peters sends it left with Tamati. Good run by Tamati. Carbett to Bishop. Bishop once again with the kick. Sean Edwards at fullback in place of Hampson. Takes it across field. Brought down by Mike Gregory and Brian Carbett. Braithwaite. He's brought down by Tamati. This time it's Case. West, but good tackle. Bob Jackson. Kiss goes himself on the play, the ball, looks for the gap, but Jackson once again is there to stop him with the assistance of Les Boyd. Case, substitute Holden, cuts back inside, but Dave Allen tackles him well. 6th tackle for Wigan. Kiss. This time it's Stevenson, his kick's charged down, Mark Foster's going for it and picks it up but fumbles the ball. And Wigan are in possession. A chance missed there for Warrington. So Sean Edwards going across field. Brian Case. 3 Warrington players in the tackle. Halfway through the second half. Holden to Hanley. Hanley straightens up, stopped by Les Boyd and Dave Allen. Kiss from the play, the ball goes himself, but once again brought down. Dave Allen and Les Boyd. Forward to Holden. This time it's Potter. Once again, Bob Jackson, another good tackle. 6th tackle. Sean Edwards, oh, nice catch there. Brian Carbett cuts inside, finally brought down by Braithwaite. Tamati. Bishop on to Tommy Gittins. Gittins stopped by Goodway and Nicky Kiss. Once again, it's Tamati. Bishop. Dave Allen, but loses ground, and Ian Potter tackles him. Tamati. Once again, Bishop with the kick. Heading towards the corner. And just goes the wrong side of the flag as far as Warrington are concerned. So a tap from the Wigan 25, Kiss onto Case. Case stopped by Mike Gregory and Tommy Gittins. And still going. Good run from Brian Case. Kiss acting halfback, goes himself. Jackson, but he gets it onto Case, onto Potter. Potter's got space, onto Holden. Holden, no tackle by Steve Pierces, but still gets the ball away to Edwards, onto Hanley. Hanley goes back, right, still going. Gets it out to Andy Goodway. Goodway onto Detroit. Detroit shrugs off Bishop, still going. Gets it away to Ellery Hanley. Hanley moving in field, still going. Still going, gets away from one tackle. Ellery Hanley still going. Gets it out to Phil Stott. Phil Stott goes for the corner, but well tackled by Rick Thackeray and Ronnie Dwayne. What a good sweeping movement there from Wigan, sending play inside the Warrington 25. Hanley, Stevenson, dummies. Gets it out to Nicky Kiss. Nicky Kiss throws the ball back, taken by Detroit. Detroit goes left. A chance here for Wigan. Dummies cuts back inside, still going. Gets the ball away to Holden. Holden stops short of the line. Great saving tackle. And a double movement. A great saving tackle there on the line. Mark Foster, Brian Johnson. And once again coming up, Bob Jackson. A great saving tackle from Jackson as Holden was going for the line. Jackson injured in that tackle, but a try-saving tackle. So Warrington back in possession on their own 25. This time it's Boyd. "17 minutes left as Dave Allen goes forward, brought down. Bishop onto Gittins. Gittins, Mike Gregory, brought down by Ford. Holden, Tamati, Bishop, A long pass out to Steve Peters. Peters onto Johnson. Johnson gets round one man and Johnson's got a break. A great run here from Johnson, gets his pass out, but Braithwaite intercepts it. And finally brought down by Mark Foster and Brian Carbett. Good run from Johnson, but his pass intercepted by Braithwaite. This time it's Brian Case. Case brought down though, Les Boyd. Steve Peters. Holden onto Ford. To Hanley. Hanley to Goodway. But he's brought down by Dave Allen. Ford. But can't get away from Jackson. Once again, Jackson tackling hard for Warrington. Holden. A sloppy pass and Graham West can't take it. And that will be a knock-on. So a scrum down. Bishop prepares to feed, puts the ball in on the Warrington side. Peters goes left. Tackled though by Holden, short of the Wigan 25. Ronnie Dwayne onto Bishop. Bishop, Mike Gregory straightens up. And loses the ball. Kiss, a long pass out, a chance there for Wigan. Michael Ford. Michael Ford goes left, brought down, gets the ball away to Braithwaite. Braithwaite comes back inside. Tammet is in the tackle there for Warrington. And also Jackson. Hanley. This time it's Holden. Holden gets the ball out to Goodway. Goodway onto Detroit. Detroit well tackled though by Bishop. Good tackle from Paul Bishop. From the play of the ball, Goodway goes himself. Stopped though by Ronnie Dwayne and Dave Allen. Stevenson goes across field inside. Boyd still going into the Warrington half. Finally brought down by Ronnie Dwayne. Sixth tackle for Wigan. Holden, dummies. Kick through. Bishop picks it up for Warrington. On to Dave Allen. Dave Allen gets away from Phil Stott before he brings him down. Warrington back in possession inside the Wigan half. Bishop onto Les Boyd. Les Boyd still going. Finally brought down by Nicky Kiss and Michael Ford. Warrington midway inside the Wigan half. Gittins. Bishop to Tamati. Tamati. Three Wigan players in the tackle. Bring him down. Steve Peters is acting halfback, sends it right with Gittins. Gittins, a long pass out, picked up by Carbett. Carbett comes back across field, finally straightens up. And Graham West and Hanley bring him down. Sixth tackle for Warrington. Bishop with the kick. Hanging, Jackson's going for it. And Ronnie Dwayne has it, and Rick Thackeray now with a chance for Warrington with the kick through. And a chance, Rick Thackeray still going, but a saving. A save there from Nick Detroit as the ball was bobbling loose. Rick Thackeray there trying to get on the loose ball, but a scrum down inside the Wigan 25. Warrington pressing there. And a substitute. Is there? Nope. David Stevenson getting applauded from the Wigan spectators. In the far corner, Holden feeds. Wigan ball, Keith Holden away with it. Wigan in possession. Still with that 10 points to 4 lead as Ian Potter comes away with it. Mike Gregory and Steve Peters. Good tackle again from Steve Peters. This time it's Brian Case. Nicky Kiss meets Jackson and Gregory, who bring him down. Holden, Edwards with the kick. Bishop's under it. Takes it well. On to Johnson. Johnson shrugs off one man. Steve Peters is acting half-back. Sends it left onto Gittins. Gittins along past to Ronnie Dwayne. Gets past Stevenson, still going. Back inside to Rick Thackeray. Thackeray beats off Stevenson, but doesn't get past Poster, and Warrington lose numerous yards there. Tamati onto Mike Gregory. Gregory, tackled by Kiss, who gets the ball, who gets it out to Potter. Potter now, with a chance, dummies, goes into the Warrington half. This time it's Kiss. On to Michael Ford to Graham West. West, stopped by Jackson and Tamati. Holden on to Ford. Ford, his pass is a sloppy one and picked up by Brian Carbett. A chance there for Carbett, he's going for the line. Very bravely, but he won't stop it. What a stride! Brian Carbett, it's there. Brian Carbett scores under the post from a sloppy pass, and Warrington pull it back to 10-8. Warrington, a great try from Carbett, had the speed to get away from Braithwaite and went under the posts. And getting a round of applause from the Warrington fans behind the post there. And that pulls the scores back. Wigan 10, Warrington 8. The sloppy pass from Michael Ford, it went loose. Carbett picked it up and got away from Braithwaite for speed and scored under the posts. 10-8. Bishop a chance now to tie the scores. So Paul Bishop to try and kick his first goal of the evening. Left-footed and no trouble at all. 10 points each. Warrington pulling themselves back into this game. Wigan 10 points. Warrington 10 points. And Warrington claw themselves back into the game. Down 10-0 at half-time, it's now 10-all. And with 10 minutes to go, still anybody's game. Stevenson kicks off. Mike Gregory stops it well. Goes straight, tackled by Kiss. Potter. This time it's Tamati, goes right. Over the 25 before he's brought down. Peters on to Les Boyd. Boyd gets away from Kiss, hands it on to Bishop. Bishop with a long pass, well taken by Dwayne. Lucky to take it, well tackled by Stevenson. Bishop. Bishop gets away from Nicky Kiss. He hands it on to Mike Gregory. Mike Gregory with the pass. But Warrington back in possession, Tamati. And that will result, I'm sure, a scrum down. And a substitute below. Tony Hodson comes on for Warrington to be replaced by Mike Gregory. So Mike Gregory, a good game tonight for the Wire. He's replaced by Tony Hodson as the ball is fed by Holden, and it's Warrington ball. Out on the Warrington side, but Wigan have possession. A chance here now for Wigan. Holden on to West. West, tackled by Hodson, gets the ball away to Hanley. Hanley, though, being pushed back by Johnson and Bishop. Nicky Kiss. Kiss to Case. Case is held. Wigan, though, pressing now. Nicky Kiss from the play the ball, finds the gap, tries to get the ball away and does. Holden now with a chance, but a forward pass. A forward pass there from Nicky Kiss onto Keith Holden. And Wigan supporters not liking that decision, but it's a scrum down on the Warrington 25. Scrum's pat down. Bishop Fees comes away with the ball, tackled by Holden. Allen from the play the ball out to Peters. Peters. This time it'll be Tamati. On to substitute Hodson. Hodson though tackled by Graham West. Tamati across field, cuts back inside. Hodson back to Bishop. Bishop with the kick. Into space. Stopped by Edwards. On to Braithwaite. Braithwaite. But Les Boyd has him. Swings him round. And then Peters assist Les Boyd and Bob Jackson. This time it's Goodway. Knocks off Hodson. But can't shake off Bob Jackson. Keith Holden onto Case. Case though, well tackled by Tony Hodson. Michael Ford over on that left hand side, a nice pass out to West. West though still going. Dave Allen, Mark Foster in the tackle, gets the ball away to Braithwaite. But just couldn't break the tackle of Tony Hodson. This time it's Ford. Ford onto Hanley. Hanley goes himself, gets away from Peters. But once again, Bob Jackson is there for Warrington to bring him down. Sixth tackle. Stevenson with the kick. Well taken by Brian Johnson. Gets past Holden. Brings down brought down by David Stevenson. Steve Peters this time. Goes himself onto Tony Hodson. Tony Hodson gets away from Potter. And Michael Ford. This time it's Tamati. Tamati head down, makes good ground before he's stopped. Dave Allen to Peters. Peters cuts back inside but brought down. Andy Goodway and Brian Case. Tamati sends it right with Les Boyd. Boyd charges forward. Sixth tackle this time for Warrington. Tamati onto Bishop. Bishop kicks left. But too long from Paul Bishop, and ball back for a scrum down. Just inside the Wigan half of the field. Moving into the final minutes now. The score's level at 10 each. Once again, another vital scrum for both sides at this stage of the game. And Keith Holding will feed for Wigan. And a free kick to Wigan. Paul Bishop didn't retire. Stevenson quickly takes the kick for touch and puts it safely in. Wigan now with a chance in these final minutes. Braithwaite with the tap, goes himself, goes forward. Tony Hodson brings him down, and Wigan now on the attack with Kiss. Kiss to Holden. Holden onto Case. Case, but Bob Jackson once again is there with Dave Allen and Kevin Tamati. Potter to Ford. Ford goes left this time. His pass is dropped by Graham West. And that's a knock on. And a scrum down. So 2 minutes remain. And Warrington ball. Bishop from the scrum cuts back inside, looks for the gap. Just brought down by Detroit. Allen. Tamati. Tamati gets his pass away. It's a sloppy one. And it's picked up by Ronnie Dwayne. Gets away from Holden. Finally Holden though brings him down with Ian Potter. Steve Peters to Gittins. Gittins straightens up. Tony Hodson. Peters looks for the gap. just can't get away from Brian Case. This time it's Jackson from the play the ball, once again makes valuable ground before he's brought down. 6 tackle Bishop. A long kick. And that one will be picked up by Sean Edwards in his own try area. Goes across field, looks for the gap, but once again Bob Jackson is there. A minute remains. Wigan are in their own 25 with Braithwaite. West gets the ball away. Chance here now. Holden a long pass. Goodway is passed though. Goes loose. Detroit has to pick it up, but he loses it. Dave Allen going for the line. Is it a try? No, it's a dropout. Dave Allen there going for the line in the final minute. And it was a Detroit who had to clear the ball for Wigan, so a dropout. Time's up. Perhaps Warrington will move forward and go for the drop goal. We're in it. Time being played on by the referee. Stevenson kicks off. Steve Peters picks it up just inside the Wigan half. Goes forward. Hanley brings him down. And in fact, there goes the final hooter. The score, Wigan 10, Warrington 10, and I'm sure Warrington will be more than happy with that result. At half-time, the score was Wigan 10, Warrington 0. Tries by Stevenson and Hanley, a goal from Stevenson, but in the second half, Warrington, a great fight back. Tries from Johnson and Carbett, and a goal from Bishop. Bob Jackson had a fantastic game for Warrington, I thought.